recording now. Now, yes, now.
Okay, perfect.
Awesome. So, the first question is, why did Gaupio choose to incorporate Hawaiian legend or tradition into his story?
I think. Oh, do you want to go first?
No,
you go
go
first. I was just thinking that just Hawaiian culture was such an important part of Ikau's like identity. So I feel like it wouldn't be the same. Like we just learned so much of his identity through his culture, like the Hawaiian culture.
Yeah, for sure.
And it was really cool to see like the interactions like between people in the book. There would be like Howley or like they would say like just the vocab words, and I thought that was really cool too.
Mm-hmm.
Took me back.
Yeah.
So I think that it was cool because Polynesians in general are just really proud of their culture.
Yeah.
So I think just being Polynesian and like being Hawaiian, it only made sense to include like Hawaiian stories and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it goes with like the whole nature versus nurture thing. Like that's just like how Ikau was raised, and just I don't know, like you said, Gabriella, like it wouldn't be like the story wouldn't be a story if it didn't have those, because it does just make up so much of him. Like, his culture was very much what made him him.
Mm-hmm.
What specific? This isn't like a question, kind of going along with that, but not an actual question. What specific Hawaiian legends or traditions did you guys notice? Like looking at the clouds.
Like, one of the traditions that was like really obvious was him being raised and understanding like plants and medicine, because that is a huge part of like Polynesian and Hawaiian culture.
Yeah.
Just understanding that there is a purpose behind plants, and it's not just for eating. It could be for medicine. It could be for dietary purposes. It could be for healing. Like there is so much that plants can offer, and it was really cool that was like what he wanted to do. Even like if
Yeah.
he was to go to college, he would want to study botany.
Yeah. Something that stuck out to me was like all of the imagery about the clouds.
Yeah.
Like how this cloud was a dog eating that or whatever, like.
Yeah.
And in our pre-reading, one of the assignments was about like the clouds being a sign of different things. Like if the clouds are shaped one way, there's going to be a storm, or stuff like that. And that was very apparent in this book for sure. So it was cool. It was also a way of foreshadowing, because like in the beginning it's like that's how one of the ways we could like very much say that he did that he used a literary device.
Yeah.
Is he used the tradition of Hawaiian cloud reading as a form of foreshadowing in telling the story.
Mm-hmm.
I just realized that it's kind of cool.
Be like a change in them for something to be different. Yeah, no, that's super cool.
Mhm. It's cool, like now, like kind of picking up on the different literary devices. Like, oh, he used this, like whereas before it's like, I don't know what any of these are,
Yeah.
It's kind of fun.
Totally.
So the next question is, in what ways does Kaupio make Hawaiian tradition relevant for contemporary readers? I think he explains things, like either in like going back in time and switching into like a reflection of this is me and my grandma and this is how it was then, and like switching the tenses and everything, or so that we can understand it, or even like in just like the cloud reading, it's like this was a sign that it was going to be a good day, and so it helps us know, oh, in Hawaiian culture this is the da, 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 da.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Can you read the question again?
Yeah.
Yeah. In what ways does the author make Hawaiian tradition relevant for contemporary readers? Like, why is it important? Why is the Hawaiian culture important for us? Probably is a good way to say it.
So one thing that I thought of is that, well, one, he's young, so I feel like contemporary is usually for those who are like younger, like it's a younger mindset. But also, one of the things that I thought of, like pertaining to that question, was that he was like almost embarrassed of like some of like parts of his culture, like not wanting, like just telling people that his name was Kelly, when in reality, if you were to tell somebody your name's Ikawi Kalani, that they would be like, oh wow, that's a beautiful name. And so for a contemporary reader, it allows them to realize that you shouldn't be ashamed of something that's you, because for like someone with eyes who are willing to see that, they would appreciate like your name or your culture or whatever it might be.
That's true. I think the Hawaiian culture has a lot of values that I think generally a lot of people value, if that makes sense, like family,
Mm-hmm.
nature, and I don't know. I just feel like there are some core values that can be related to everyone. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. Okay. How does the race affect relationships of characters in the novel? Gender, class, give specific examples, including page numbers.
Ooh.
Get my book.
Where's my book?
Well, for one, page numbers kind of weirded me out.
The page numbers?
Yeah. Like, I don't see page numbers on mine. I see LOC 1444.
Oh, because yours is online?
Yeah.
Oh, dang.
Man, where'd you guys get your books? Amazon?
Amazon.
But
It's
it was
it's
from
not 2-day shipping to Hawaii. Like, it would have taken like a week to get to me.
Yeah, I had that problem too. I ordered some books and it took like half the semester for them to get there.
Yeah, and I hated using Kindle.
Yeah. I realized I was like, why don't I just go to the library and see if they have this book? Because like they had
There's a-
Cinder, but then I like bought all the books in the beginning of the semester. I'm like, why did I do that? Like I could have.
I'm so irritated now that you brought that up. Thank you for that.
Yep, no problem.
Totally.
Okay, so back to the question: how does race or gender or class affect the relationships of characters in the novel?
There's one that instantly popped out to me when you read that. Is in chapter 6, the very first page. And it's like in the first paragraph, it says, tourists with European accents ignored him, and a group of Japanese steered around him as if avoiding dog poop.
Hmm.
Like,
Mhm.
how sad is that?
Yeah,
Oh, it's like heartbreaking.
like the next sentence after, like he'd never felt more lonely and unlovable. So sad.
Yeah.
So that's on page 41.
41.
Yeah, just so you know.
Hold on, I'll write that down. Oh. You guys have any that you remember?
Well, I was just going to the time that all of the people got kicked out of the park. All of the homeless people got kicked out of the park because their class was homelessness, you know? Um, and at first, the gang member leader thought that they he could turn it against them because like he treated him as if like um those people were the ones that were picking the fight.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Yes.
in chapter 15. Um, on page on page 143 is when the gang leader tries to blame it on the homeless people. He said, not, they started attacking me. He pointed accusingly, they shouldn't be here. Dang homeless scum. You should kick him out. The park is for us to enjoy. We shouldn't have to deal with this kind of shiz here. Going through this book, I was like,
Yeah. Okay.
okay.
Easy. Like from Cinder to this book, I'm like, whoa. This is like hard.
Oh,
Language.
and like I remember like in the pre-reading she said like just a forewarning, these 2 pages are like
Morning. I remember when I read that, I was like, "Oh, this will be fun."
and then I read it and I was like, oh,
Oh, it's terrible.
That sounds terrible.
like it was horrible.
I'm trying to think when Ecal like finally broke through with that woman who like had forgotten to take her meds and she forgot where she was. But he like knew that that I felt like that kind of applies here too, but I don't know where it is. Mm. Do you guys remember?
Um,
while you guys look for it, there was another one that I had,
Uh-huh.
and it was when he went to McDonald's
Oh yeah.
with his expired coupons, and the cashier lady was super rude to him. And she like right here it says the woman got irritated and said, "You have 5 cents?" And no, he whispered, "Then please leave. Next." Like, oh,
Hmm.
that was like
So sad.
just a tip of the iceberg, just of her talking to him. Anyway,
On page 94, it talks about like criminals, and it's out of Hawaiian's journal, but it says prison is dog eat dog. I never change my ways. I would just be like the other brothers who don't know better. Some end up repeating the crime so they can go back for a bed to sleep, and 3 hot meals a day. So it's just like the life of a criminal, I guess. Like dog eat dog world, you know?
yeah,
That is like the relationship between prisoners and stuff is very just aggressive. I think when people, like, I've noticed in the book, when people were on the same level, like all the homeless people, they stood up for each other, you know? Or in the end, he called them like mom and pops, you know, like stuff like that. Um, they're on the same level, and so that they really respected each other. Ika was one of the few that um, okay, sorry. Ika was one of the few people that like respected all levels, I feel.
yeah,
And he was really good about that.
Yeah. I also think, okay, so like on page 65, when he's talking to the Japanese girl on the bus,
Mm,
since she was like near his age. I mean, she was a little older, but she was more invested in like talking to him,
yeah.
yeah.
like finding out like his story and stuff.
Mhm. Yeah, I feel like age is another one of things that plays a relationship that affects the relationship of the different characters in the book.
Yeah, totally.
Okay, next question. When do two or more of the above when two or more of the above factors come together to influence the way oh no, when do okay. Two or more of the above factors come together to influence the way a character is treated or interacts with the world. Again, give specific examples. So like those like two things together. So like how his I would say his class and his um hmm, trying to think of a time when it was like two things also. Well, when the gang members tried attacking him in the beginning, like he was like a boy, like a young boy,
Younger. Uh-huh.
and he was also like of the homeless class, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Say,
Oh yeah, that's what I was thinking.
let's see. And so,
It's like 16 and 17.
Yeah. Yeah, 16. Suddenly, the men were huddled around him as if they were playing a game of rugby and he was the ball. Shadows loomed and a dozen rough hands reached for him.
That's so scary.
Yeah. To me, it's crazy that, like, in the end of the book, he stays and decides to be homeless.
I know. I was not expecting that. I was expecting him to go like with his family in Kauai or whatever.
Oh, I thought Mariah Wong was going to be, like, some long lost person that was going to rescue him and give him $1 million. And
But I thought that it was going to be like the problem solver.
but
Yeah, around that time, I was like,
uh,
hurry up before you run out of time.
Yeah.
Go find this Maria Wong. Mariah.
the crazy thing was that the problem in the author's mind was that he didn't know who he was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was like more devastating than being homeless. I don't know. That's crazy.
Mm-hmm. Did we know any other times where both things? Well, I guess when Mariah was telling him about his name, she explained to him about the priest and stuff on page 126 and 127.
What chapter is that?
It's the gift of a name, chapter 14. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pages into that chapter. But like the way that Mariah talked about these chiefs and stuff, like they were regarded as a very high class and a very respected people, and they're also male. And people would come to them for help. So that's like one thing of how a character is treated. I guess it's not like a specific character in the book, but it's like characters that were discussed in helping Ikao find himself. So,
That's a good one.
um, I don't know. I don't remember where it is the first time he meets Gladness.
Who's Gladness again?
The lady.
He helps with the garden.
Yes, that's right.
Oh, the Gabriella, the one about him talking to Peaches. the lady who has her mind that went away. That's page 89
Oh,
in chapter 10. So the way that he treated her, they were on the same class. And
Was that the lady that was like that watched the sun with them?
that was the lady that talked to her imaginary friend.
Yeah.
mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden, like,
She
he's
like
talking
comes
to
to.
her, and then she's like, "Name's Peaches. Hello, Peaches."
There was a typo in the book online. I don't know if you guys noticed that.
Oh, I didn't.
Yeah, there was like a typo in the ebook that I was like, oh, that's weird.
That's funny.
You can get your book back. They'll like refund you. Just kidding.
I thought the flying into the night chapter was interesting.
Oh yeah.
Where he like was in a dream and then he becomes an owl and flies around with.
With
It
the
was weird when that guy like that was some dream. I didn't get that. Remember?
Yeah.
I didn't get that at all. I was really confused.
I think
like,
that was like a splash of like Native American tradition as well, essentially saying that like that was him.
Mhm.
Okay.
Like it wasn't like, you know what I mean though?
Yeah.
Like so he's just like a person of like much higher of understanding and probably like somewhat controllable, maybe, like when it comes to whether it was reality or if it was a dream, that he was like, maybe it was like it wasn't a dream. Because that was another thing too, is that when he said that like at the end he felt like he hadn't slept,
Yeah.
so like maybe he wasn't dreaming like at all. Maybe it was just so crazy that he thought it was a dream, but it really wasn't at all.
Yeah. I was like,
Interesting.
Okay, last question. What message does the novel send about a particular theme? This is where each group shares the thesis statement prepared before the group meeting.
Prepared. Second.
I like wrote down each theme from each chapter for my. I like decided to do this book summary a different way. So, okay. My thing is in Matthew Calpio's book, Written in the Sky. He uses imagery, foreshadowing, and colloquium. Imagery, foreshadowing, and colloquium. To portray the idea of being led to finding oneself.
Mine's like pretty similar to yours.
What's yours?
Pretty much the same thing. In Matthew Capel's book, Written in the Sky, Matthew uses imagery and figurative language to show the importance of finding one's true purpose.
Nice.
Or identity, I suppose. I don't know. I'll mess with it still.
Hmm. So it's my turn to share mine.
Yep.
Um, hmm. I told myself I would try to develop one throughout our conversation, and one hasn't really developed. But if I were to just like come up with one, it would be 1 second. Let me just like write it down so that it's like actually organized. In Matthew, what? How do you say it? Calpio. In Matthew Calpio's book, Written in the Sky, he uses conflict and tone to help his audience understand the hardships of homelessness.
Oh, that's a really good one.
I sure hope so.
I like it.
I like it. So I found that when using like the slang or using the different language types, like how in the book he definitely, when he wrote it, he was like, you could definitely read it like there's pigeon in it and there's the Asian lady talking,
Yeah.
So that's colloquium, right? That's how you say it.
Colloquium.
But yeah, something like that. But I felt like that was something. As I looked it up, I was like, "Oh, that's a good one for this." Yeah.
So, just as a quick question, what other themes did you guys find in the book? Because, like, I only, like, found, I don't know. I felt like one of the main ones was, like, finding your identity. But I couldn't think of any, like, other ones.
So things that I wrote just for each chapter, wrote homelessness, bullying, finding the good,
Yeah.
following our ancestors, or being led by, like the idea of just being led on your journey,
Yeah.
Yeah.
being led on one's journey to find oneself. Everyone has their own path. Everyone has their own journey to go on. I don't know.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, those make
Like
sense.
you pretty much named all of them that I
Yeah.
had.
Well, I have like a list, so I'm just reading things off. Giving, that was a big one.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah. One of the ones that I thought of was wastefulness. That was like kind of like when he did have like the opportunity to like binge, he like shared. He told he told himself that he wouldn't do that again, like after the first time, and after the second time, uh, he shared like the burgers that were about to get thrown out at McDonald's. Like she didn't want to waste it. Yeah.
Yeah. That's right. I forgot about that part.
The big one that I like was just homelessness though, because my son had speech therapy the past year in town. So me and my wife would go to Kapiolani once a week to take him to speech therapy, and we would pretty much see him there along with everybody else. And I remember I was talking to a fellow student on campus, and I was telling him how I had a hard time, just like it like hurt for me to see like how many people just like were homeless, and like how I had like a super soft spot for homelessness. And I remember hearing him go, and this kid being like his dad's like a physical therapist, and money was never an issue to him. Was, well, I also think it's partly on them. I was like, oh gosh. And like after reading this book, I'm like, imagine being a 14-year-old boy on the streets with like no answers or like understanding of where to go.
Yeah.
It's like where do I go from here? Like that's something a 14-year-old should never have to worry about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely, I like it. It like definitely opens your eyes to homelessness.
Eye opener. Man, my lighting in this room is like pretty poor. I just looked at my like screen. Like I'm like super dark. Should I stop? It's at 35 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay, that'd be good.